Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Happy Monday, Lock Shoppers, and welcome to Super Bowl week. Less than a week to the big game, Chiefs and the Eagles, and we'll have a lot of that Thursday and Friday. Two huge NFL episodes. We got a big golf episode for you on Wednesday as well, and of course, NHL action returns tonight. You can still get in on some of these futures before the pucks drop, so we're going to dive into that today as well. Huss, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. I spent a good 2 hours last night looking at the prop opportunities for Super Bowl, or as it's now referred to as Sunday's big game. I'm not sure why the NFL is flexing again, and I think a lot of places can't even call it Super Bowl. Weird. Anyways, I think we all know what we're talking about here. And I imagine that the number of options are going to balloon as we get closer to Sunday. So, yeah, Thursday, Friday, it's going to be fun to break down some of our favorite player props, obviously hit the game, totals, everything else around it. And it's also Waste Management Week, one of the best.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if you've caught this, but the field for this event is maybe the best ever. Everybody, if you, unless you're playing on the Live Tour, you're going to Waste Management. It's one of the elevated events, huge money this week.
I was going to say, how could you not? Right? Like, if you're eligible to play in this event, why would you not be there?
No, it's wild. And the funny thing is, too, I wouldn't at all be surprised if a bunch of these guys finish up their round and go straight over to the
Super
game.
Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to be far away. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun week. And, of course, we've got the NHL back tonight. Jets are off until Saturday. It kind of caught me off guard that the league was starting.
Do they have that bye week after the All-Star week, essentially? Like, because the Oilers had theirs before.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, the Jets played on the Tuesday heading into the week. There's still a couple more games. I think Boston, Toronto played on that Wednesday night, and I guess Thursday was dark. So, yeah, they've got the rest of this week off until Saturday. And we've got the Saturday night 9 p.m. home game on Saturday, Dusty. Good old
what?
Yeah, 9 p.m. puck drop at Canada.
Like local time in Winnipeg?
Local time. Yeah, 9 p.m.
Why?
Well, probably because they're jamming us as the late game on Hockey Night in Canada. There's probably others teams maybe are off, or I'm not entirely sure. Canucks, Oilers, Flames, not at home. I'm not sure. All I know is that it's minus 10,000 for that to be the drunkest crowd of the year in Winnipeg, with an extra 3 hours to pregame before it. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good week, but I'm pumped that we've got some games back here. And before we do anything, little Barry Horowitz is in order. Shout out to any Lock Shoppers that were with us on Friday. Matthew Tkachuk, All-Star Game MVP, 15-1. That absolutely made my weekend. And it was funny. He had the hat trick in the first game, and then he scored early in the final, and then Dylan Larkin had a hat trick. And I was very worried that Larkin was going to snipe Tkachuk for the award. But luckily, the theory of the hometown guy winning the benefit of the doubt actually came true. So that was a very nice 15-1 winner after didn't do too well in the skills competition, but made up for it with the big game. So, yeah, let's get back to the ice tonight. And by the way, there is still, and we'll touch on this in a second, way more futures options right now up until puck drop tonight that have been up all week long. So we can get to those in a second. But if you do want to maybe check out the cup odds, conference winners, divisions, that is all there right now. And as I say, that's going to disappear once we get to puck drop this evening.
Man, it doesn't matter how the skills contest goes when you hit Tkachuk at 15-1, hey? Like, everything's, whatever, it's all good. Great weekend. Yeah, Matthew Tkachuk coming through. That worked out extremely well. Well done.
Got a couple nice texts or nice tweets from Lock Shoppers that jumped on it as well. So hopefully a great start to the final 30-odd games for most teams right now. And as they say, if you're looking at right now, no doubt that the Boston Bruins are still the favorites to win the Stanley Cup right now. Are you surprised, though, that the Avalanche are still such a short number? Plus 625 to win the whole thing, plus 315 to win the West. And listen, I think they're pretty much at the playoff line right now. You know that they're going to be in it, but it is a lot to expect of a team that played so much hockey last year, has dealt with a whole bunch of injuries. Maybe that helps them, in fact, having some of their top players not playing the entire season. I'm not sure, but I do find it interesting. In Edmonton, second shortest number in the West right now as we look at those odds.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at them right now. Colorado plus 315. I'm not going to get on it. It doesn't really surprise me that they're going to give them the benefit of the doubt that if they get into the playoffs, that they could go on a run and be the most difficult team to knock off. Oilers at plus 575 to win the West is an interesting number right now. They're also plus 240 to finish first in the Pacific in the regular season. I really like that plus 240. I mean, we've been talking about it probably from about beginning of January to mid-January that the Oilers had this sweetheart schedule coming up. They ended up with a stretch here where they faced 3 decent teams, but those teams were on back-to-backs. And then after that, it was 7, and they're in the midst of this right now, 7 straight games against non-playoff teams. And they've been cleaning up. They're 7-0-1 in their last 8. So the schedule has really died down here for the Oil. They've got 4 road games to start here post-All-Star break. And I think the stiffest test would be the New York Rangers on this trip. And, they've got Evander Kane back now. So I understand. I mean, I think they're going to win. I think they're going to finish at the top of that division. McDavid in the second half of the year might even be better than he was in the first half. So plus 240, considering where they're at right now, might not be the best value, but obviously there's some risks there already for cool bet plus 240. The one thing in the West that I do like, I'm on the Oilers at plus 240 to win that division. But when you look at the Western Conference winner, including the playoffs, Huss, what are your thoughts on Dallas as a play at plus 700? Because to me, they've got that star goaltender in Ottinger. They've got, pretty good blue line, including a guy like Heiskanen who can step up at big times. And then they got Robertson in that line that's arguably, outside of when McDavid and Draisaitl together, probably the most dangerous, consistently dangerous line in the National Hockey League all year. So they've got some pieces. They've been having a pretty nice season so far. I see them at 7-1, which I think are the 4th best odds? Yeah, they're 4th best odds right now in the conference, and I don't mind that.
Well, okay, let's go down the list. Colorado's plus 315. We touched on them. Then there's Edmonton at plus 575. They got the all-world talent up front. I guess I'm going to wait to see what happens with their goaltending once we get to the playoffs right now. I think that still has to be a question mark with the season that Jack Campbell's had. And I know Stewie Skins was an all-star goaltender, but you're moving up a couple weight classes.
They're not Ottinger.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then the Vegas Golden Knights are maybe a huge question mark. Dusty, they started off 13-2. They were 11 games above 500 after October, basically. They're 11 games above 500 right now. And Mark Stone is out indefinitely after back surgery right now. To me, there's no value at all of the Vegas Golden Knights. And I think people are still thinking about where they were earlier on in the season as to what that number is. So, yeah, now you get to that middle. Dallas at 7-1, Calgary 9-1, Minnesota, Winnipeg, and Seattle all 10-1. And, you look right now, Seattle's in first. The Jets are 1 point out of second. And the Minnesota Wild are 8 points back, but do have the 4 games in hand right now. Dallas is a really interesting team, but I'll tell you what, I don't see a lot of difference between Dallas and Winnipeg. And when it comes down to it, give me Connor Hellebuck in a slight nod over Jake Ottinger right now. Money Puck, I don't know if you saw this last week. We had some fun with it on Winnipeg Sports.
I saw that.
It was the Oilers number 1 in the West and the Jets a very close number 2 and the 4th best odds to win the Stanley Cup. Now, take that for what it's worth. It's one company's model. But I think when you cook in the goaltending of both Dallas and Winnipeg, I think they're both sort of undervalued in the West right now.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. You make some good points with Winnipeg at 10-1. What about in the East? Anything jump off the page for you in the East here?
I'll tell you what, I am making a wager right now on my Eastern Conference winner, and it's the Carolina Hurricanes at 5-1. Boston's plus 225. I get it. They've been unbelievable all year long. Tampa and Toronto are next up. They're going to play in the first round. One of those teams is going to be out. I just think that Carolina, their path out of the division to the East, to the conference finals, is going to be considerably easier than it is for whoever comes out of that division. And man, they've been so close. They've learned the hard way, I think, in past playoff runs, how close they are. And I think that they get over the hump this year as long as the goaltending can be there. But when you compare them, listen, I know Linus Ullmark has had this brilliant season, but I mean, that's a team. I think that's more a testament to how good Boston has been as a team overall right now. So anyways, Carolina at 5-1, they're 9-1 to win the cup, but 5-1 to win the East. I really do like that right now. And the one other thing, just basically getting back to Dallas, Winnipeg and all that, the Jets are 1 point out of first place in the Central.
And look at that number in the Central, right?
And it's still plus 450. I mean, they're 8.
Dallas is minus 118.
Dallas is minus 18. I mean, as I said, the Jets have been overlooked and undervalued all season long. Now, listen, I know no one was picking them at the start of the year, but they did start out the season at 80-1. Then it was 50. Then it was 40. Then it was 30 something. Now it's 24-1 to win the entire thing. They're 1 point out of first place right now, and they're getting this long rest. They certainly didn't play well going into the break, but they had that big win going at it. I'm just saying that if you look at what the teams have done so far this year, look at their rosters, and again, this is pre-trade deadline. Obviously, things can change. They're 1 point back at Dallas. Dallas is minus 118, and Winnipeg is plus 450. I think you know where I think the value is on that.
All right. What about tonight? National Hockey League action tonight. 6 games, Huss, as we get back into things. What are you leaning? What are you on tonight?
Yeah, well, some really interesting games. And, before we even get into it, do you have any thoughts on theories on this first game back after the All-Star game? I mean, I don't think this is going to be the best hockey we've seen. I think there'll probably be some teams, probably some guys with sunburns. I'm kind of going on a couple teams that, were playing well at the end of the stretch. Well, let's start it off. I think I'm going to take the Philly money line, plus 111 at home against the New York Islanders. Now, Philadelphia, to their credit, after that horrible first half of the season, was actually playing quite a lot better in the last 2-3 weeks. Carter Hart has been very, very good. And they're hosting an Islanders team. And this is fascinating. I mean, Bo Horvat, we've already seen him represent the Islanders. He signed an 8-year contract, which was too long and too much money, according to Lou Lamoriello. But he hasn't played a game yet for his new team, and that is tonight. I was listening to Torres' pregame earlier today. I think he's got a pretty focused team right now that is kind of buying into what he has been preaching. So I'm going to take the Flyers to maybe spoil the party in Bo Horvat's debut against the New York Islanders tonight. And then the other game that I like is Calgary at the Rangers. I'm going to take Calgary on the road. This is basically a pick 'em, minus 109 on the money line. You'd have to assume that Shesterkin will not start tonight. Usually the all-star goaltenders get a break in that first game off. Calgary certainly, I mean, Nazem Kadri was there. He was part of the festivities, but I think the Flames were impacted a lot less than the New York Rangers were. And, when you look at Calgary, they had actually been quite good going into that break. And they've got to be a desperate team right now, Dusty. I mean, I know that we've got those odds, and they've got better odds to win the West than Winnipeg. Well, they've got a long ways to go right now. They've got 57 points in 50 games, and they still sit in 5th place in the Pacific Division and tied with the Colorado Avalanche for the last spot. And the Avalanche get it because they played less games. So we're starting this stretch right now with the Calgary Flames have to win, and they have to win often. I think Sutter's going to have them ready to go with that message going in tonight to MSG against the Rangers. I expect him to get that backup goalie, so I'm going to take them as a pick 'em. So Calgary at minus 109, Philly at plus 111. I'll play those individually, and I'm probably toss a little sprinkle on a parlay too at plus 305.
Yeah, I got a little parlay here that ends up being plus 323. It's a 3-gamer though, and a couple of what could end up being more of the lopsided matchups tonight. So I am going to take Dallas tonight. They're at home against Anaheim, but I'm going to take them in regulation. That brings that number down to minus 227. So the Stars in regulation at home tonight. Minnesota, who's certainly in the thick of it in that Central Division. I'm just going to go Minnesota money line tonight against the Arizona Coyotes at minus 243. And then Florida-Tampa is a very interesting game. Like at first, and maybe this comes back to bite me in the butt, but I was thinking coming off the All-Star game, maybe a little bit sloppy, like, two teams with some skill. But their last 6 head-to-head meetings have all finished under the total. I think I'm going to get under the 6.5 here at a plus number right now. Going back to last year in the playoffs, Florida cannot score against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and maybe that changes. We probably think does Elliott go tonight? Let me double check on the starting goaltender here tonight. I'm not going to change. It says Vasilevsky's likely. I mean, I guess there's not a lot of travel there, but I'm going to get on the under here. I mean, Florida in their last. Let's just go back. The last 6 games, going back to the playoffs last year, Florida has scored 1 goal, shutout. And then this year, in their 2 matchups, 2 goals and 1 goal. Like, Florida has not been able to score against Tampa here in their last 6 head-to-head matchups, including the 2 games this season. Tampa has taken both of them. So I'm gonna ride this trend right now. I'm gonna take the under in Florida. If you want to bump it up to 7 just to cover maybe a 4-3 game, it'll change the number a little bit. It'll take it up to minus 145. And if you put that into this parlay, it's plus 244. But if you decide to stick with the 6.5, which is what I'm going to do, it's plus 108 and gets you to plus 323 tonight. So Florida, Tampa, under 6.5 goals. And then Minnesota money line and Dallas at home in regulation against the Ducks will get you plus 323 on a 3-gamer tonight.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Yeah, I'm going just a little bit of a different strategy on this, trying to take some teams that maybe taking advantage of some numbers as opposed to, I do get nervous. Like, coming out of the break, teams that are expected to win and blow teams out. I mean, this is a bit of a minefield, I think, for a few of these teams. But again, it's not too aggressive on what you did right now. Yeah, I'm looking. That is confirmed. Halak for the Rangers, expecting Markstrom to go in. Although, what is it, Vladar? Every time he plays, they seem to win.
He's the one that you want right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, Marky's got to get on a big run, but
nothing against Vladar, but the Flames are going to make the playoffs, man. Markstrom's got to find his game. He's got to get his shit together.
100%. And Islanders at Flyers. It's Carter Hart for the Flyers and Sorokin not playing for the Islanders too. It is Varlamov. So. As I say, I kind of like the way things have shaken down. And we're right back at it. Full slate of games. I mean, this dark zone in the schedule is completed right now. When are the Oilers back? Are they tomorrow?
Tomorrow against Detroit. They swing back into it tomorrow. So try to keep rolling. They were on fire. They're playing the best hockey of the year prior to the break. So, and they had the bye. They haven't played in a long time. It's going to be over 10 days between games. So we'll see if they can keep that up. That'll be tomorrow. And then for us, Lock Shop Wednesday, Waste Management Open. We'll get you ready for that. Obviously, a great field. I cannot wait to break down that tournament. Probably give you some hockey plays as well. And then Thursday, Friday, we're going to have Pat from Cool Bet one of those days, Jake one of those days, and we'll get you set up. Player props episode, then game props, official picks, all that fun stuff Thursday and Friday. Getting ready for the Eagles and Chiefs.
You know it. I've got this done. I got this made after the first one. I'm hoping to get another one when this is all said and done. And just quickly on the line, it has not moved at all over the course of the weekend. It's been 1.5 Philly. I think that very well might be where it ends. Although I did see some people that are pretty smart saying that if anything, this could get closer to a pick 'em by game time. We probably get some Mahomes money closer to game time. So if you do like Kansas City to win, I'm not sure you'll find a better number than the plus 104 on the money line right now over at Coolbet. Philly is minus 122. And it's funny, the total was opened up at, I think, 49.5. It got up to 51. It's now kind of sitting 50.5 right now for the game. So we'll pay attention to line movement over the course of the weekend. Yeah, and then Thursday and Friday, fire away on Just think about how many prop bets I'm going to make for this game.
Did you see this? Did you see the tweet from Field Yates? This is wild.
No.
The Chiefs this year, 16-3 overall record, 546 points scored, 6 All-Pros, including a Kelsey brother and their quarterback, and they're the AFC's number 1 seed. The Eagles this year, 16-3 overall, 546 points scored, 6 All-Pros, including a Kelsey brother and their quarterback, and they're the number 1 seed. The exact same thing. They're both 16-3 with the exact same amount of points scored. Like it's crazy. This is going to be a great game.
Listen, one of the great matchups we've had in a long time, as reflected by that point spread right now over at CoolBet. And listen, Sunday can't come soon enough. That being said, I'm looking forward to a couple big football shows to finish off the NFL season Thursday and Friday when the boys jump on with us. And again, we'll get ready for the Gong Show Wednesday with the Waste Management Open and picks for the weekend.